In today's Solo Leveling Arise video, I will be talking all about the best characters for new / beginning players to be worrying about investing in. So we're going to cover the ones that I think are pretty budget options, and we'll talk about some of the ones that you could potentially get from rerolls or whatever that you guys should be, if you get them anyway, investing in heavily. I hope you guys enjoy. My name is D-Free. I make Solo Leveling Arise content. Make sure you subscribe if this is your first time here. Excuse me. 80% of viewers are missing out by not being subscribed to the channel. Also, check out the playlist link down below in the description, as I am redoing a lot of these older guides for the anniversary, and if you haven't seen the other ones, they will be in that playlist as well. So let's go ahead and kind of get into it. So the first thing I want to kind of mention is this isn't really a reroll guide in particular, because I think with rerolling in this game, it kind of just depends on what's going on at that given moment. You don't really necessarily need to quote unquote reroll, because the thing is that you can basically brute force summon whoever you want. What I mean by that is, the only banner that's really going to be a constant is the custom draw. These select gotchas are shifting every month, but you can put 4 characters or weapons, whatever, here and keep summoning until you get them. It's extremely easy to get these. You don't start with a bunch of these, I'm pretty sure, anyway. So like, you're not re-rolling and having like a traditional sense where you're starting with a bunch of currency and then doing like 10, 20 summons and then restarting your account over and over. That's not really what this game is. Although I'm sure there's some opportunity to do that. Most of what it is they reward you for logging in over a consistent period of time, playing events, etc. But it's extremely free to play friendly. If anybody tells you otherwise, they simply don't know what they're talking about, in my opinion. But that being said, quick hitter, some stuff to maybe potentially reroll for. I'll kind of briefly mention some weapons, because those are very valuable, of course. Plum Sword, one that's tippy top priority, I think, for new players to begin with. Demon King's daggers, wherever they're at, I'm not seeing them. Or another one that you guys I just flat out don't see the daggers. Are they not in here? Oh, there they are. I was like, what the heck? Demon King daggers, another one you guys should be prioritizing as well. Moon Shadow, extremely strong. However, early game you can use the scythe. I think the scythe falls off a bit, but you can use the scythe. Divine Quarterstaff, another one that's really, really good, but I think these are the two you mostly want to be targeting. And then from there, you have options. Like if you're going for the wind-based team, eventually you want to plug in this alongside the longsword, or excuse me, the daggers. Longsword is also solid, but don't worry much about that. We're going to be in the water meta for anniversary, so Thetis' Grimoire is extremely strong just in general as a support-based weapon. I'd expect for there to be a new Sungjinu DPS-based water weapon that you can maybe try to get as well, but that would be listed here. Another thing about this is that anytime a new weapon comes out, they are immediately added here. So characters get added here about a month and a half later, 2 months later, but weapons are added immediately. All right, so in terms of characters, Cha is interesting because she's one that I think you should invest in early on. She's a solid DPS character. Oh my god, I like rubbed my teeth together sideways and like I've got like this ringing in my head now, and it's like really hard. I feel like I have a lisp now. Very solid character early game for you to invest in. You also have that like chain thing of missions that they added like a month or whatever ago, but if you're starting now, you'll see it on the home screen in the top right corner. There's a little thing where you complete it, you get Sha limit breaks, and you get her weapon. So she's really strong. You can invest in her. I wouldn't personally list her as a character I would target from the selection list. I don't think you should be doing that, but everybody should be getting a Cha by default just from playing the game. So with that being the case, I think she's worthwhile investing in, and she's a solid, again, DPS character, solid support character for her branding and all that stuff. All right, so other characters that are here, I could get into this for a long time. Kind of depends on the team you're building, but what I will say is right now, if you're starting the game now, if you are starting literally right now, Amamiya Mirai, or every time, Malin Fisher is the one that I think you need to be adding onto your team, because you should be targeting a water team. Now, Seren is going to be leaving her banner, but you're going to want to get her. She will be added here, and again, in about a month or whatever. You can wait until then, but you want to be targeting the water team with Malin and Seren. Until then, you could get Sa here if you want to. She's just kind of okay. But other than that, I think that's what you should be going for. Next up, since you're going to start off with Cha, I would plug in these two. I think they're extremely strong characters. You can get a really solid light-based team off of that. If you really, Cha gets replaced in a lot of team compositions by Thomas. So you could also do something like this or something like that, and Shimizu Akari, wherever she's at. You can kind of plug in the light team around that. Go is the mainstay though, because he's the breaker. Most teams consist of one DPS, one support, and one breaking character. The fire team is also extremely strong, and there's a lot of viable options. It's basically pick your poison of these three characters and Gina. So like a combination of these four. You got these two girls are DPSs, Kanai and Yusu Hyun. The breaker again and the support are Essel and Gina. Those characters are mostly going to be there in pretty much all compositions. You can look to build a team like that. Now, that's more or less just like quick reorg guide, things you should do, right? But another quick rule of thumb or word of thumb is that the support characters are extremely strong. So if you're just looking for support characters to plug into your teams, I would consider getting these three characters. Now, all these characters have stipulations on limit breaks just in general in the game. But for example, I can't think of her name right now. The dark chick, the fortune teller, I can't think of her name right now. She really wants to have 3 limit breaks. He wants to have at least 1, that first one for Min. Really, you want to get 5 on all of them, but you know, at least that first one is good for Maylin Fisher as well. I always want to call her Amamiya. So outside of that, we're mainly going to be focusing on budget characters or SR characters that I think you guys, if you get, would be useful. So Jinho. So Jinho, I think, is really interesting because he's got that heal, he's got a decent break, and he's a character that you can use effectively early game, right? Another character I think that you can get good usage out of winds up being Nam Chae-young. Another decent breaker, has a freeze. We used to actually use her as a really common character in the water team back in the original water meta. Another character I think you can consider is actually Park Hee-jin. She's a really solid support character, also really nice for her breeze, increasing the ultimate skill damage. Also the likelihood of getting the ultimate with the power gauge up for her teammates in here is pretty nice. When she uses airball, all these effects, the team members power gauge goes up, so increases their quickness of getting their ultimates off. Really good. Aside from that, I want to kind of pivot over to the story because I think that does matter. The elements of the first couple of chapters, I can't remember what they were. I think it was like water or something, right? That does matter because I think that you also should be pinpointing getting characters that are, if you're again brand new to the game anyway, that are going to have advantages in elementals here. So it starts off as dark actually, which makes sense. Chapter 2, what do we have for chapter 2? Not much going on here anyway. I assume it's still dark. It goes to wind. There's only like one fight there, so whatever. Chapter 3, is it just going to run the whole carousel? So no recommended element. Okay. But I know that you see, like, there's some chapters in here where like light winds up being really strong, but by the point you hit to some of those, you may have already invested in other characters, right? So those are mostly the characters I think you guys should be investing in early game. I mean, there's some other non-mentioned SSR hunters I think that could be useful that I'll bring up to you here and now. If you don't get Go Gun Hee, but you get Baek Yoon Ho, he's solid for the defense down, solid secondary light element breaker for your team. Emma Laurent, also secondary fire DPS, was the main one until Essel like a month ago, or really like 3 months ago. But anyway, solid breaker, good support. Woo Jinchul, I actually really like Woo Jinchul because he's got the extra dashes that he can do, but don't really need him anymore after Goto came out. Which, by the way, quick note on Goto. Is he going to get added to that custom draw in like a few days? I'm not keeping track, but he may be added to the custom draw in a few days. So add Goto to the characters that you would want to start off with. But anyway, until then, Woo's got the extra dashing. He's got a solid breaker, supporter, all that stuff. Also a nice dash supporter for Sung Jinu. So keep that in mind. Another solid breaker / supporter with her paralysis is going to be Harper. So she's good. Libora has a damage increasing charms that she does out there. She can be a DPS, but also really like her as a support character for Sung. I could really run the list and talk about all of these characters, but I wanted to keep it more like, you know, underutilized or underrepresented. Can we say something nice about Dong-soo? Not really, but he does have a stun and he does remove shield, which can be useful, but it's extremely niche. And a dark element breaker here with Lim. But mostly it's those characters, especially the SRs, that I think you guys could be using or should be using. And if you really need a dark breaker, you can use Dong-suk. and a dark DPS with poisons. He actually used to be super meta for a little bit of time, or bleeds, excuse me. He used to be super meta back in early access before they nerfed bleeds as well. He used to just rip stuff apart. But Kang Taeshik can also be another character you invest in. So really, I listed a lot of the roster, but hopefully you took some value in that. Speaking of poisons, another game original character, Ana Ruiz, she does have some stuff like that. Hopefully you guys took some value in that, but I wanted to cover it because, like I said, I know everyone's going to try to just look at it like, oh, which the best character I can acquire that'll be really good. And there's a number of characters that you can use in a number of situations, and they can be useful for you. But if this video was helpful, make sure you hit that thumbs up. And if you haven't already supported another creator, make sure you support me. Link down below in the description. As you see, we consistently get these rewards like 1,000 essence stones, all these other things. Those have expired, but there will be new ones for the next season. So make sure you support via the link down below in the description. The button right now is grayed out, but check back in a couple of days when the next season does start. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. If you haven't seen the playlist, check it out now. I'm not sure why it froze, but yeah, I'll see you all later.